Hi everyone! Welcome to Nature Walks with Ruth. Today, we're going back to the tide pools to see what else we can find. We'll see how the tide pools have changed over time and what other kinds of creatures call them home. Then we'll add a new entry to our field journal with the help of a friend. Let's get started. I returned to the shallow pools of trapped seawater where I'd first met the periwinkle sea snail. Thanks to the biting winds and low temperatures of a New England winter, these tide pools had been completely frozen over for the past few months. But as spring approaches and sunlight warms the ground, the ice has melted away and the tide pools have returned. I said hello to our good friend the periwinkle, which dotted the rocks in striped gray shells. A lot of the rock was also covered in a layer of green stuff called algae. There are many kinds of algae. Some is this slimy stuff that grows across wet surfaces. Other kinds look more plant-like, like kelp or seaweed. But algae existed long before plants did. Underneath the waves, algae has been growing and evolving for 1 billion years. Algae can be found everywhere that there's water, making it an ideal food source that many aquatic animals depend on. Sea snails like the periwinkle eat nothing but algae, scraping it off of the rocks that line the coast. And soon enough, I found another algae eater residing in the tide pool. This is a shrimp. Shrimp are a crustacean, the tiny cousin of crabs and lobsters. They are found in every aquatic habitat. If there's water, there's shrimp. They spend their day sifting around the tide pool, eating algae and organic debris. They're so good at cleaning up that a lot of people use shrimp to clean their aquariums. This is what makes shrimp such an important part of the aquatic habitat. By eating the dead plant and animal matter, they're recycling it back into the ecosystem. I saw the shrimp perching on the rock on their long, thin legs. They also have a bunch of smaller limbs called swimmerets, which they use to paddle through the water. If a shrimp needs to move quickly, such as to escape a predator, they can dart backwards with a flick of their tail. Some of the shrimp species that I saw are more recent residents of Massachusetts. This shrimp, with its blue and orange striped legs and bright blue claws, is a European rockpool shrimp. As you can tell from the name, these shrimp are found all over the European coast, but they only started appearing in our tide pools about 15 years ago. I can't help but wonder what the other shrimp think of their colorful style. Now that we've taken the time to get to know the shrimp in the tide pools, it's time to add them to our field journal. A field journal is a tool we can use to keep track of the things we see in nature. And today, my friend Keating is here to help me. Hey, Keating.
Hi, Ruth.
Keating's going to draw a shrimp while I write down our observations. I started out with the date and the name of the animal we'd found. Then I wrote a short description. Shrimp are a small crustacean found in tide pools. They have a semi-transparent body that is divided into segments and a long tail. Finally, they have 5 pairs of thin legs that they use to perch on the rock, and 5 smaller pairs of swimmerets that they use to move through the water. Keating, do you want to tell us about the sketch you're working on?
For sure. So I started by drawing the sort of basic outline of the body and all of those legs. I wanted to make sure to get the shape of the body just right because they're sort of just one long tube, but they have all this interesting segmentation and variation to that tube shape, so I wanted to make sure to capture those details precisely. I noticed that the shrimp has this interesting looking horn on its head that sort of connects to all its antennae.
That horn is called a rostrum. It looks different depending on which species you're looking at, and it has teeth on it.
Oh, cool. Those eyes were also super striking to me. They look sort of like googly eyes, which I love. They're very goofy in a very fun way. I spent a while on the transparency of the shrimp. It's kind of tricky to show that in a sketch like this, but I wanted to try and get that across because it's such a distinctive feature of the shrimp. And so I focused on showing some of the veins on the inside of it and the way that you can even see some of its organs. I also wanted to make sure to get those little pops of super bright color that some of the shrimp have on their front legs, because that seemed super striking to me.
I love that. It was interesting to see how much the shrimp interacted with one another. Some of the shrimp were really tiny, which I think means they're younger. I have to imagine there's some really interesting social dynamics going on there. It's like there's a whole soap opera going on within the tide pool. And with that, we have finished our journal entry. Thanks for all your help, Keating.
Thanks for having me. I'm so glad I got to draw these shrimp today.
The amazing thing about tide pools is that they're always changing. The creatures inside take advantage of this temporary environment so that they can enjoy a brief vacation from the open ocean until the tide reaches them again. Thanks for coming on a nature walk with me. I hope you enjoyed our trip to the tide pool. Are there any other cool plants or animals you want me to explore? Feel free to stop by the library and tell us your suggestions for future videos. And be sure to check out the Palmer Public Library's YouTube page to find Keating's videos. Thanks again, and see you next time.